با سلام، زهرا دلاور هستم و قراره در این آموزش از فرادرس با هم تسک 1 رایتینگ آیلتس آکادمیک رو بررسی کنیم. Let's start checking some basics about task 1. The first question is that what are you going to do in task 1? You are given some visuals. They can be maps, processes, and diagrams. And you are asked to summarize information and compare them if they are relevant. The other point is that you are not asked to talk about your opinion. You have to just analyze data. Please keep your idea for task 2. The next point is that you have to write at least between 150 to 180 words. There is limitation here because the time is limited and you are asked to do task 1 in 20 minutes. There's a point you have to learn to recognize how long 150 words look in your handwriting before the test because you won't have enough time to count the words during the test. The next point is timing. This is really important and there are 3 easy steps for you to make it easier. The first step is reading the question and planning your say. It takes between 3 and 5 minutes. What are you going to do in this step? Read the question carefully. Then try to underline all the words that you can replace them with their synonyms. Try to change the words form. If they are verbs, try to write their nouns. And look at the picture, visual, the title, and all the information that is written there. And another point is writing. You have to spend between 10 and 15 minutes on this part. And the final step that is really important is proofreading and editing your work. That it takes between 3 and 5 minutes. This is really important step because sometimes you have done really unimportant mistake that you can correct them. Another important question is that we have to do task 1 or task 2 first. Okay, it is wise to do task 1 first. Why? Because it is shorter than task 2. And when you finish this short part, it gives you a sense of accomplishment and gives you motivation. Maybe you ask yourself, okay, task 2 exactly has twice as many marks as task 1, but don't do it first. Do task 1 first. Let's check what are 4 marking criteria in task 1. The first one is task achievement, lexical resource, coherence and cohesion, and grammatical range and accuracy. That each exactly worth 25% of your total score in task 1. Let's check what is task achievement. Task achievement refers to how answered the question properly. For this, you have to exactly do all the points that the question asks you to do. There are 3 points in each question. The first one is that you have to select key features. Then use these key features to write clear overview. And the easiest part is that there is a limitation. You have to write at least 150 words. Okay, task achievement is done. Let's move to check. What is coherence and cohesion? Coherence means connecting your sentences in ideal level. What does it mean? It refers to your ability to connect your main ideas together so that they make sense and they are easy to understand. Look at these puzzles. They are connected to each other that makes sense. What's the meaning of cohesion? Cohesion refers to the connection of ideas at sentences level. Okay, how you can get a higher score for coherence? The first point is that you have to paraphrase the question. Then, separate your ideas into paragraphs, and each paragraph starts with a topic sentences that gives information to you that what are you going to read about, and making it clear what each paragraph is about, because your idea should be connected. Look at this picture. It exactly shows us what is the meaning of paraphrasing. We keep all the parts of pauses, but we rearrange them. How can you get a higher score for cohesion? Use a range of linking words appropriately. Look at these circles. Imagine each circle is a sentence. Look, some of them are connected to each other. These lines are linkers, or linking words. Use linking words accurately and don't overuse linking words. Look at this picture. All of the units are not connected to each other because it's not necessary. Let's check some cohesive devices. Sequencing. There is a sequence. You have to use these words. First, second. They are useful exactly in process questions. Another one is adding. You have said something. You want to add something to this information. You can use these words. And illustrating. You want to make something clear by giving some examples. You can use these words. Comparing, talking about how similar are things. These words are really useful. Qualifying. Exactly, you want to make something less general. These words. And when you are talking about contrast between two things, use these words. Let's check what is lexical resource. Lexical resource refers to your ability to use vocabulary both accurately and appropriately. You will give a higher score if you look at these points. You have to avoid mistakes. Be careful about collocations. Make sure that they are exactly accurate. Using synonyms. This is the simplest way, but the most useful one. And avoid repetition. Try to use different forms of words. It makes it easier for you to have really a larger range of vocabulary. Then you will give a higher score. Grammatical range and accuracy. The first point, don't make errors. You have to write error-free sentences. Then use different tenses and different structures. We will talk about these points and use correct punctuations. This part is really important that many test takers ignore it. And use both simple and complex sentences. Exactly, useful combination of this kind of sentences. When should we use complex sentences? Okay, I told you we have to use both simple and complex sentence. When we want to talk about main points, we have to use simple sentence. And when we want to expanding on the main points, giving more details, or if we want to introduce multiple graphs, we have to use complex sentence. Let's check, how do we make a complex sentence? Okay, it's not as complex as its name. We need exactly 3 parts: an independent clause, plus subordinate conjunction or a relative pronoun, and a dependent clause. Let's check. Because the weather was cold, when I say this sentence, you are waiting for what? What is going on? It's not completed. The idea is not completed. although it has a subject and a verb, and I wore a warm coat. But look at this sentence. It is a sentence, subject and a verb, and it has a complete idea. When I say this, you are not waiting for what is going on. Then, we call this one dependent clause, and this one an independent clause. Just combine them to make a complex sentence. I wore a warm coat because the weather was cold. I can replace them. If you replace them, you need a comma here. Let's check what is subordinate conjunctions. Words like even though, whereas, while, when, because, since, and what are relative pronouns? Who, whom, which, that, whose, what, where, when, and why. Look at these examples. The given bar graph shows the amount spent on fast food items in 2009 in the UK, while the pie chart presents a comparison of people's ages who spend more on fast food. Can you remember? I told you, when we are introducing multiple graphs, we have to use complex sentences, you can see. While, and here, I want to give more information about people, then I use who here. Or this one. The chart indicates the number of people in thousands who took three types of public transportation, which are tram, bus, and train in New York. Here, again, I want to introduce a noun. Give more information. Then I use who, people. Okay, which people who took three types of public transportation. Which type of public transportation? Tram, bus, and train. The consumption of fish and chips declined over the provided period, whereas the amount of pizza and hamburgers that were eaten increased. Again here, I want to talk about contrast. Then I use this word. I want to introduce and give more information about a word. I use that. Let's talk about compound sentences. They are really useful in writing. Here we need at least two independent clauses that are conjuncted by a comma, semicolon, conjunctive adverb, or a coordinator. What is a conjunctive adverb? Words like moreover, however, or finally. And what is a coordinator? Words like for, and, nor, but, yet, or so. Now, look at these examples. Sales of ebooks have increased dramatically, and there is an increase in sale of applications. Both of them have complete idea. Then I use and to connect them, and this one. However, this is closely followed by deforestation and overcultivation, with the remaining 7% being made up of other causes. Here I use however to qualify the idea and connect them to each other. Let's check Ielts Writing Task 1 template. The first thing that you need is writing an introduction. The next one is writing an overview, a clear one, and writing body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2. How should we introduce the graph? Okay, you need just to write one or two sentences. What kind of information you have to write? You just need to paraphrase the title of the graph and the question. Just that. That's enough. Try to check the visual, its title, and all the details to add to this introduction. And be careful about time frame. Follow the time frame that is given to you. What is paraphrasing the question? P. Okay, put the text in your own words. Avoid copying the text. And R goes to rearrange. Rearrange similar text. And the final step, ask yourself if you included all the important points or not. What are 4 methods of paraphrasing? Using synonyms. The easiest one too. Changing the word order. Changing the form of the word. For example, if the word is a noun, change it to the verb. If it's a verb, change it to the noun. And change from active to passive, that we are going to talk about all of these points using synonyms. Look at this question. And this is paraphrase sample. Look at these red words. All of them are replaced with their synonyms. I just list here all the words that I wrote or replaced them with their synonyms. You can see chart, line graph, shows, displays, changes, alterations, different areas of crime, burglary, car theft and robbery. Okay, I just choose these words from the graph. Manchester City Centre. I rewrite it using a phrase, the center of Manchester. This is really useful in writing time period, from, change to, between. Changing the word order. Changing the order of the clauses and changing the adjective into a relative clause if there is an adjective or noun in the question. Let's check these examples. Millions of people every year move to English-speaking countries such as Australia, Britain, or America in order to study at school, college, or university. Look at this blue clause and this green one. I replaced them easily. But this one, according to the table, learning to manage money is one of the key aspects to adult life. Look at this red part that is changed. The aspects to adult life that is key, using relative pronoun. Change the form of the word. Here we have some really useful structure for task 1. The first one is using verb plus adverb. Look at this example. The consumption of milk fell steadily. Fell is a verb and steadily is an adverb. Another useful structure is this one. There was a plus adjective plus noun. There was a steady fall in the consumption of milk. I rewrite this example with this structure here because the tense was past, simple past, exactly. I use was here. Look at this one. There has been a plus adjective plus a noun. There has been a dramatic rise in the production of films. I rewrite it with this structure because the tense is present perfect. I change it to present perfect form. The production of films has risen dramatically. Let's practice. There are 3 examples. The development of new products fell gradually. Here I have verb plus adverb. Because the verb tense is past simple, I use was. There was a gradual fall in the development of new products. On the internet, the number of sites rose significantly. Rose, verb plus adverb. There was a significant rise in the number of sites on the internet. And the last one. At the theme park, there were very slight fluctuations in the number of visitors. The number of visitors at the theme park fluctuated very slightly. Here, I use were because the noun was plural fluctuations. And the last part, change from active to passive. That is really useful and help you to have enough variety in tenses and in your grammatical range. What is active voice? Look, the property developers invested $20 million in development of shopping centers last year. This one is your subject and a verb, and the green one is an object. But what happened in passive voice? There isn't any subject. But passive voice can include the subject when the subject is really important and is worth to mention. We can exactly mention it. What should we do to make an active voice the passive one? Replace the subject with the object. Put it here, write the verb, and if it is worth to mention, put it here after the verb. Because it wasn't really important, I don't mention it here. But what happened for the verb? We need a form of be, depends on the tense, and the third part of the verb, past participle, was invested.